This is the family embarrassment we all have to deal with. At my son's wedding, his new wife introduced me to her wealthy parents. Everyone laughed until her father stared at me and gasped, "Aren't you the secret multimillionaire who bought my company?" I'm glad you're here. If you're watching this video, please give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and tell me in the comments where you're hearing my story of revenge. I want to know how far it's gone. My name is Emily Turner, but most people just call me Emily. I've spent the last 15 years perfecting the art of being strategically invisible, which turned out to be great preparation for what was coming. My son Dylan had been dating Jessica for 8 months, and I had only seen her twice before today. 2 brief encounters where she asked me very direct questions about my modest lifestyle and whether I might need help with my expenses as I got older. The wedding was spectacular, I have to admit that. The Reynolds estate stretched for more than 50 acres in the rolling hills of Virginia, with a private chapel that could hold 300 people and gardens that must have cost millions of dollars. Jessica walked down the aisle in a dress that probably cost more than what most people earn in a year, and Dylan looked happier than I had seen him since his father passed away. I chose my own outfit very carefully. A simple navy blue dress from a nice department store paired with my grandmother's pearl necklace. Nothing flashy, nothing that would draw attention. I learned a long time ago that the key to privacy is to look exactly what people expect to see. A widow living comfortably but modestly on an engineer's pension and her late husband's life insurance. The reception was lavish. Ice sculptures, a 12-piece orchestra, flowers everywhere. I sat in a corner watching Dylan dance with Jessica when she approached with her parents. "Mom, Dad, meet Dylan's mother," she said, her tone dripping with condescension. Robert Reynolds froze, his eyes locking onto mine. "You have to be mistaken," I said softly, though we both knew the truth. Most people don't recognize real wealth. They expect ostentation, diamonds, luxury cars. I wore a simple dress, drove a reliable sedan, and lived in a cozy apartment. For 15 years, I'd cultivated invisibility, and it had served me well. It began with my late husband, Thomas, an engineer like me. In 2010, he invented a power management system for cell phone batteries. We sold the patent in 2012 for $25 million. Dylan, then 24, was told it was a modest payout, enough for comfort, nothing more. He never questioned it. Thomas and I invested wisely, stocks, real estate, tech startups. By his death in 2020, our portfolio exceeded $800 million. 2 years later, I acquired Reynolds Holdings anonymously through a shell company. Robert had nearly bankrupted it with reckless loans. I saw value in its core, strong clients, talented staff. I saved it not for revenge, but because it was a sound investment. For 3 years, Robert lived off my decisions, unaware. The morning after the wedding, Dylan stormed into my apartment, demanding answers. Robert had quizzed him about Thomas's patents, our finances. I'd slipped out early, needing time to think. My phone buzzed. Jessica wanted lunch. "Family matters," she said sweetly. Dylan looked stricken. "Mom, is it true?" At the restaurant, Jessica was already seated, radiant in designer clothes, a $1,000 bottle of Bordeaux on the table. "We're family now," she said, eyes sharp. She'd done her homework, a news photo from the acquisition, a woman in a navy dress, posture unmistakably mine. "Coincidences," she mused, "like your $700 million purchase saving Daddy's company." Dylan's gaze burned into me. I admitted the truth, the patent, the investments, the acquisition. Jessica's triumph was palpable. Dylan stormed out, hurt by years of lies. 3 days later, my advisor James revealed the Reynolds fragility. Mortgaged estate, drained accounts, debts propped up by my consulting fees to Robert. Jessica had hired investigators probing my shell companies. She wasn't just curious, she was building a case. Dylan texted, Jessica had ideas for our family's finances. I prepared for battle. They arrived that night, Jessica with a folder of proposals. A family foundation, $50 million seed, equal votes on a board. Dylan looked overwhelmed. I countered with evidence, her investigators, new credit lines, a recorded call where she sought a stable match. Dylan's face crumpled. "Did you marry me for money?" Jessica's silence was answer enough. I offered $5 million for Jessica to vanish forever, plus security for her parents' home and Robert's income. Dylan begged us to stop. "Did you love me?" he asked Jessica. She couldn't answer. The offer stood. Take it or face ruin. At 11:47 a.m. the next day, her lawyer accepted. Paper signed, money transferred, Jessica gone. Dylan filed for divorce. 6 months later, he called. "I met Sarah. She's a teacher. She likes it you're normal." I laughed, relief washing over me. "Bring her Sunday. I'll be just mom." I sold my apartment, moved to Santa Fe. No one knew the tycoon. I was Emily, the woman at the farmer's market, the 8 a.m. service regular. I started the Thomas Fund, quietly supporting young engineers. Dylan and I healed over awkward dinners, then genuine ones, with Sarah, who hugged me without a thought to bank accounts. Jessica's shadow lingers sometimes. She'll reinvent herself with that $5 million, but she's not my burden. I learned wealth isn't numbers, it's impact. A student's gratitude for a scholarship outshines any dividend. Invisibility was my strategy, not my sentence. The real revenge? Thriving without those who'd use me. If someone calls me an embarrassment again, I'm ready. The embarrassment is chasing approval instead of leaving a mark. I'm Emily, mother, mentor, quiet force. And I'm finally free.